This episode is sponsored by VR Rock. I really appreciate them. More from them in just a bit.
Need this fantasy.
It has been a while since I've made content. Been about a week, I think, but it was not without good reason. I've been building for quite some time the DOF Ralley H3, which is a simulator with 3 degrees of freedom to where inside VR, inside of a racing or flight game, or even roller coasters, you feel everything. Left to right, forward, backward, and even kind of a drift to where if you take a tight turn, it drags out from kind of behind you. Now, the difference between the H3 and the H2 is 2 degrees of freedom to where it's just left to right, forward and back, which can be a good time. It's this much money. For the record, the H3, which I have, is this much money. On top of that, there's the H6, which is this much money. And that brings a whole 6 degrees of freedom into play to where it does everything that mine does, but it also has a forward and backward movement so that if you're in a race and you're taking off, it kind of thrusts you forward. It also has an up-down thing to where, if you're on a roller coaster and you're coming up and going down, it'll lift you and tilt you and bring you down and give you some of that weightlessness. And something else that's really cool about the DOF Reality, I think, aside from being one of the most affordable options if this is what you want to do, is that everything is upgradable. Where I have the H3 right now, someday I will indeed upgrade to the H6, in which case they send me the stuff I need and I kind of take it apart and fit on these new components, and then boom, I have 6 degrees of freedom. Very soon, I'm positive I'm also going to be integrating the fans that they offer, which kind of ignite and blow air at you relative to your acceleration, which I think is going to help with just the immersiveness of it all. But also, I think that wind, for a lot of people, can cut down on nausea. That's not something I have an issue with, but I've heard that it helps. Now, right out the gate, I gotta say, I have a ton of accessories related to VR, and I am a sucker for haptics. Everything from B-Haptics to ProTube to HIG VR, all of these companies making what are arguably very expensive components and accessories. But that expensive component aspect of it was always like $200 to $800, which, if you're spending $500 on a Meta Quest 3, which, by the way, if you want a headset and you don't have one, you'll find it down below where you can save 10% off using my link. Thank you. But that's going to go one of 2 ways. Either you have the cash at your disposal to where you could get a $500 headset, and what's another $500 on a B-Haptics tack suit. But there's also a large percentage of the population that's going to say, no way in hell am I spending another $500 on some accessory. And so when hearing that in tandem with the prospect of spending like $3,500 on an entry-level motion sim rig seems unconscionable to a lot of people. And I get it, but of all the accessories I have, I've never had one that does so much to bring me into VR. I've never had such an immersive experience as I did when I first jumped into Dirt 2 and crashed and rolled my vehicle. I've never had an accessory that so complemented VR in a way that is just tangible. A lot of times you'll get the Provolver or the B-Haptics tack suit, and when you take the time to put it on and you decide I'm going to spend the next 3 hours playing Half-Life Alyx or Contractors or something that makes use of it, it's extremely rewarding. It's extremely immersive, and I think that those devices are worth every penny, but it's also kind of a hassle putting them on. And you have to be in that mindset. You have to say, I'm gonna dedicate the next 3 or 4 hours to just being fully immersed in this one game. And when you set that time aside and you say, this is what my day's gonna be, and you take the time to incorporate those devices, it's magic. But a lot of the time, we're not in that headspace to where I think a lot of people, when they jump into VR, they're in it for kind of 30, 40 minutes, and a lot of the time it's a quick game of Beat Saber to get their heart rate up, or it's kind of a fleeting on-the-fly thing that I think a lot of people don't give themselves to it in that way. And so I say that because this thing here took me like 2 days to build it. But now that it's built, it's perfect. It doesn't take anything to get it to run. They give you a key and a subscription to the SRS app. And what that is it's an application on Windows that incorporates all of the potential games that you can play with this thing. It incorporates all of the telemetry. It does it all for you. The app just has to be running when the game is playing on Steam. And within that app, you can tweak some of the settings and the strength of the motors and how far do you really want to tilt when you bank, when you take a turn. But it also does something that I hadn't taken into consideration. On this thing, on any sim rig, if you're in VR, and it's not an issue if you're playing flat screen with a monitor mounted to the rig, but in VR, if it's rocking around back and forth, left and right, and you're sitting on that rig and you're tilting like this, well, your headset doesn't know that the world around you is moving with you and that it's meant to be pinned to you. When it tilts, you're liable to have your head just kind of slip out of the cockpit and break immersion as if you're not tethered to the vehicle that you're in. And so the solution for that is this motion canceling, to where whatever the sim rig is doing, it takes that telemetry data and it feeds it to the Quest 3 through Steam and says, this is what this rig is doing right now. We need to cancel that so that from the Quest headset's perspective, it's not moving at all. And that way, when it tilts, you feel the tilt, but the world around you kind of stays locked to you. And that's the only way it can be immersive. That's what has to happen. And if you go online and look at this, you're going to find a lot of people saying that, WIT motion, this WIT motion telemetry device is what you need. And I have one on the way, but it's just a device that senses telemetry, gyroscopic movements that you would mount to the sim rig, and that feeds it to the computer and says, whatever this telemetry data says, subtract it from the MetaQuest's stuff. And again, I have that on the way. But to my surprise, they offer from the SRS app, which I keep saying SRS, but to be clear, I'm referring to Sim Racing Studio. They offer something, I think it's called IntelliComp, which just kind of interprets those movements best it can. There's no lighthouses, there's no tracking. It's just kind of generally doing its best to make up for it on its own so that you don't have to mount the WIT motion device and you don't have to mount like a MetaQuest Pro controller to somewhere to get that tracking canceled. Though you can do all that stuff, this application that comes with SRS, it actually works really well. So far, I have no complaints. If I get up and walk around, I can feel some jitter and as if it's kind of struggling to keep up. But when I'm in a vehicle, when I'm in a plane, I have no regrets. It's actually working very well. And I have a lot more to say on this, but before I do, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this episode, which is VR Rock. I love these guys. I'm really happy that they're sticking with me, and I love their product. Whether you're looking for prescription lenses for the MetaQuest 3 or 2, or you have the X-Real glasses, which I've talked about several times, these guys make it easy. You simply go to their website and tell them what prescription you need, and shortly after they put it together, they send it to you. And regarding the MetaQuest 3 lenses, they attach magnetically, so that if you're sharing the headset with someone like I am with my wife, they pop off easy, and then when it's her turn to use it again, they just slap right on and they stay. My wife loves them. I love knowing that she can use it without scratching the lenses with her glasses, and it has been a godsend. But if you use the code BRINGHURSTVR at checkout, you can save 10% off, and I hope you do. If you wear glasses and you don't yet have prescription lenses, you need this product, and I really suggest you reach out to them. Again, that's BRINGHURSTVR at checkout. You'll find that link down below in the description. Thank you again to VR Rock for sponsoring this episode, and now back to it. Now, I have a HOTAS mount situation on the way, but I don't have it yet, and I don't have a way of using a flight stick at the moment. So right now, I am strictly using a wheel and pedals. And in the time I've been using this, I have played Dirt 2 Automobilista. And my God, epic roller coasters. I know. It's an old joke that people lean on. It's like some weirdo gets his hands on a headset for the first time and he wants to go and tell everyone, hey, I played a roller coaster, as he was sitting on his couch, just sitting there as the world raced around him, and he's probably going to lose his lunch. But with the sim rig, roller coasters are incredible. I have done so many of these in the last 24 hours that it's fulfilling. It's one of my favorite things. I could just do it all day. And they have so many cool maps to unlock, and it seems endless. They're always updating it. And so, just to say, I had a really good time with that. I loved it. Here is some footage of one map that I played that I'm going to share with you, and I'll catch you on the other side. The other game I spend the most time in is Dirt 2. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. Fantastic off-road, a dirt rally racing thing. It has some pretty realistic effects, and this thing really puts out every little bump that I could want. And when you take it off an edge and you roll the vehicle or kind of smack up against a hill, it's jarring. You can smooth it out. You can tone some of that down so that it's not so violent, but I kind of want that, It makes me feel alive. It's pretty cool. There's something about playing something like Dirt 2 in what I previously had, which was just a kind of cockpit low to the ground where you sit and you've got your pedals and your wheel, but it's not responding to anything. It doesn't move. It's just a place to sit while you play. And I always found that when I come to a stop, if I hit the brake and I slam to a stop, it's nauseating for me because you expect some kind of G-force, and you don't get that, and it made it so I could never enjoy myself. But now with this, I'm fully invested in spending more time in these kinds of games. And just as I did with Epic Roller Coasters, here is some footage of me playing Dirt 2. So watch some of this, and I'll be back on the other side.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 30 for left, opens 50. Keep right of a jump maybe into 6 left, 30. Slow for left, into unseen 1 right. Opens. Keep right over 80. Unseen 4 left, 30. 5 left. 60 over bumps, caution, 1 left, unseen. Into unseen hairpin right narrow. Into 5 left, 30. 4 right, into 3 left, into 2 right tightens. We have punctured the left rear. 30, cut, 3 left long tightens, into hairpin left, unseen. Keep left over 30, caution don't cut, 4 right. 4 left, into unseen 1 right small cut. 4 left, opens, into 4 right, into unseen open hairpin left. Opens. Into open hairpin right. Opens. Into 3 right over crest, into 4 left, into 1 right tightens. Slow 2 right long, tightens into open hairpin left. Into 4 right over bump. Into caution, 5 left, 30 over bad bumps, unseen hairpin right. 30. 6 right, 50. 50 over bumps, 2 left, tightens. 30. 3 left, 30. Turn unseen 2 right. Keep right over 50, 1 left tightens.
Now the games I'm absolutely going to be playing, once I get that HOTAS kit, I'm going to be playing a buttload of Star Wars Squadrons. I'm going to be playing Elite Dangerous. I'm going to be Microsoft Flight Simulator. There is so much to do and not enough time in the world, but I will be making a second video. I expect that this thing is going to complement flight sims in a way that driving is awesome. I love it, but I think it's going to do a lot more. Now, also on this, and unrelated to DOF reality, but I have got the next Level HF8 pad, which is a haptic pad that goes on the chair, and it does one of 2 things depending on what you pick, but it sends vibrations through your ass against your back, and typically you simply turn on the software just like you would with SRS, and it knows what app you're using, and it outputs vibrations depending on the terrain that you're on and the collisions you encounter. And it's cool. but I just use audio to haptics. I find that there's always a hum of an engine or something, and that's enough to give me the immersion I need. I'm surprised how much just the vibration that's always there subtly sometimes adds to the immersion of the game. Like I said, another video on the way before too long, but if you do want this rig or you want to start with something, you know, less expensive from these guys, you'll find an affiliate link down below. Thank you very much to DOF Reality for giving me that, and I honestly don't know what it offers in terms of a discount. I hope there's something there, but these guys are not fantastic at communicating, and I know that by using that link you're supporting my channel, but I just don't know what that's going to do for you, and let me know in the comments, and you know, it would be good to know so I can update that description. Thank you again to VR Rock for sponsoring this episode. These guys are fantastic. Again, find their link down below and save that 10% off by using the code BringhurstVR. And thank you to my members as well. We have a couple new ones. Always happy to see us growing online. And you can join members today and support my channel. And in return, you get early access to the content. On occasion, we do marbles and a way of giving back to the community now and again. And you get your name splattered all over my channel at the end to show you how much I appreciate you. So thank you to my current members. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. It does my channel a world of good. I really appreciate it. Hit that bell notification at the top so you always know when I upload. Thank you for being here, and Godspeed.